Hey guys, this is your host Eric. Today we are going to watch action genre movie called Killer Elite. Spoilers ahead, turn on your subtitle, I greatly appreciate your support. Enjoy the video. Nick Wilde is a recovering gambler who works as a chaperone in Las Vegas. One of the unusual jobs is that of a rich mama's boy who is having relationship issues with a woman who is out of his league. He creates a fictitious scene and then allows the client to demonstrate his masculine side, causing his girl to fall in love with her brave man all over again. Nick arrives at his office the next morning. A young man named Cyrus approaches him and asks for his help. He is an avid gambler, and despite his reservations at first, Nick agrees to accept the assignment because there is a lot of money at stake. He drives to a diner where the man approaches him. He was overjoyed to assist yesterday. He claims Nick's plan was brilliant and attractive. His payment included an additional $500. Nick is pleased for him, but refuses the extra. Dealing with Nick is always a pleasure. While preparing a real man's drink at the diner, his friend waitress hands him a message from a woman he knows, inviting him to stop by her place. Holly, a professional escort beaten to a pulp, embraces. She has no idea who did this to her when he asks. She entered an elevator with 3 men after her date last night, one of whom was a young man in charge. Under the guise of a party, they dragged her to their suite, humiliated, forced on, and brutally beat her. They dumped her in a hospital's driveway. Holly requests that Nick find out who they are so she can sue them. Nick claims that he is not a detective and that it is nearly impossible to find people in Las Vegas, particularly at the Golden Nugget Hotel, which he had warned her to avoid. He refuses to assist her because the entire situation has left him with a bad taste. He visits the Golden Nugget to see what he can unearth. He is a well-liked individual. One of them is a housekeeper who works there, whom he questions about the incident. Later, at the diner, he meets her, and Nick learns that the man who assaulted Holly is Danny DeMarco, the son of a gangster, which explains why he is constantly guarded by 2 big boys. She warns Nick that DeMarco is dangerous and that he should avoid him. Nick calls Holly and informs her that he has no information about her assailant, but she immediately confronts him about his lies, adding to the story of how DeMarco humiliated her even further. She knows how to put pressure on Nick to do what she wants him to do, and he feels he has no choice that evening. Nick picks up Cyrus and takes him around Las Vegas, showing him all of the luxurious casinos until they settle on a rundown casino. Nick suggests $100 tables, but Cyrus prefers $10 tables because he believes the pleasure will last longer. This is the pinnacle of Nick's career, guarding a boy who wagers $10 on a roll of the dice. Nick is disappointed because he believes no one will rob Cyrus and leaves him to his own devices. Nick pays Holly a visit and informs her of DeMarco's whereabouts, but refuses to assist any further. He is enraged that she is lying about her plans to sue DeMarco. What she really wants is to hold his nuts, even if it means putting Nick in danger. He is a sucker when it comes to sweet talk from her. Nick goes to the hotel disguised as a representative of the baby Las Vegas Mafia boss to confront DeMarco. He wishes to settle the situation peacefully by claiming to be Holly's pimp. DeMarco even offers him $50,000 for his, but nothing is as simple as that. He begins to mock Nick, forcing him to address him as sir and tell him about his good qualities in the hopes that he will be allowed to live. Nick claims to be a trustworthy employee and even shows him his identification. DeMarco, being a good man, orders his thugs to rough him up a little, and Nick abandons the peaceful solution. He breaks one thug's leg and slashes the other's brow with a. After that, he beats him up some more. DeMarco shoots at Nick, but the card comes into play again, knocking him out. When DeMarco regains consciousness, he and his thugs are restrained, and Holly is waiting for him. She reminds him of her, and this time she's prepared for the party. DeMarco, who was once cool and collected, is now on the verge of crying. He tells her about the money, and she tosses the stack to Nick, but it's not about the money for her. She treats him the same way he treated her. She wants to hear that he loves her, and if she doesn't believe it, DeMarco will explode. Holly is thinking about castrating DeMarco, who sobs and begs her forgiveness. She instead decides to take the money and leave it outside. Nick suggests she leave town, just as he should. They split the money and went their separate ways because Nick took the risk and Holly took the beating. Nick can only do one thing with all that money in front of him: go straight to the casino to feed his gambling addiction. He takes a seat at a blackjack table and begins with a small bet of 5. To put his luck to the test, he hits a 19 and receives a 2. In any case, it's his last night in Vegas, so he trades $1,000 for 1 chip right away. Quickly, he starts with 2, then 4, then 8,000. He doubles his bet every time he wins. Unfortunately, the dealer's shift has ended, so he packs his chips and goes to get a drink. He sees Cyrus at the bar. He believes he struck gold with the dealer, but then a strange realization dawns on him. How can he tell if his luck has vanished if he has never tested it? When he returns, he is once again on a roll with multiple hands and begins playing the entire table with maximum bets. Cyrus is now silently cheering him on with a massive chip stack. He wins his final hand and has reached the milestone of 506 grand, a good point to call it quits. He tells Cyrus about his plans to leave the country and live his dream life. Nick even feels generous and tips a waitress $6,000, but on his way to the cashier, he experiences a panic attack. He tells Cyrus that 500 grand is fine, but that he will never return here. Nick decides to keep gambling because he needs more. He wagers the $500,000 in addition to his original $25,000. He gets a 17 against the dealer on a single hand of blackjack. He decides to hit again, this time hoping for a 4. Unfortunately, he has failed. To make matters worse, the dealer had 16, and Nick would have won if he had played, but he has lost everything. Nick stores it as any gambler would. I came here with $25K and left with $25K. It's not a big deal. It certainly hurts afterwards. He loses his cool in the bathroom and becomes inebriated until he passes out the next morning. Cyrus reveals himself to be a self-made millionaire and requests that Nick teach him courage. He's traveled to Las Vegas to meet him under the guise of needing Nick as a bodyguard in order to get closer to him. Cyrus can assist him with money if Nick can guide him in not being afraid of life. But Nick refuses, claiming that he was rich yesterday and is now poor. Money will not save him, and he will perish in the shithole. When 2 of DeMarco's men arrive to take him to their boss, he returns to the casino bar. He has a flashback to losing everything the day before and channels his rage into dismantling the 2 of them. More thugs emerge, but it makes no difference to him. He dispatches them all until the cops arrive. Nick meets with the Las Vegas mob's baby. DeMarco has filed a complaint with Boss Baby, alleging that Nick broke into his hotel room, pistol-whipped him, and killed 2 of his men all to fund his gambling addiction. Baby takes Nick to DeMarco's room, where Nick tells his version of the story about DeMarco killing his own men as he left the hotel. And to back it up, he claims DeMarco has a cut on his little. Baby requests that DeMarco remove his pants to prove Nick wrong, but he refuses. On principle, Nick and Baby both burst out laughing, and DeMarco exits in A. Baby and Nick turn out to be really good friends, but he can't help Nick with what's coming up. DeMarco will pursue him. He returns to his favorite diner. Cyrus joins him and announces his departure, but not before thanking him for what? Nick taught him that everyone on the planet fears something. Nick is equally terrified and an asshole. To express his gratitude, Cyrus hands him a $500,000 check in the form of a plane ticket to Corsica, but he remains unsatisfied. The reason for this is that he is about to be murdered. When DeMarco and his men arrive at the diner, it appears that the end is near. Cyrus suddenly demonstrates his newfound manliness by singing loudly in order to distract DeMarco and allow Nick to flee. This works flawlessly. They chase him down, and DeMarco declares that he will turn the entire town upside down to find Nick, who is on the roof armed with utensils. Nick closes his eyes and fantasizes about his ideal life, but he needs to be at ease first. He begins by stabbing them with his utensils, and having guns doesn't help. Only he and DeMarco will be alive when all the thugs are dead. In order to flex on him, he allows him to land a few punches before dispatching him. Following that, Cyrus insists that Nick accept the check and ticket, and he agrees to refer to Cyrus as a good friend. Nick then drives out of Las Vegas to fulfill his dream. We really appreciate you watching. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notification bell because it is really important for us. Thank you.